guys, again, St. Patrick's Cathedral, the big cathedral there. Some of you have noticed the windows right across the street from us. Saks Fifth Avenue department store, another very fancy place to shop here on Fifth Avenue. So again, you start your day off with that right up to the end. I'll tell you all about these buildings and what we're seeing here. You're going to hear the screaming crowds off.
Yeah.
The building on our left-hand side, this is called, well, it's of course the English Channel, so we call this the Channel Gardens, as it leads into Rockefeller Center. All these buildings with the same stone are part of Rockefeller Center, because Rockefeller office buildings all built from 1929 to the early 1940s, over decades. So we're here whenever you're ready to play around, okay? To see who the guest is going to be, to realize how crowded it is. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be worse.
As you guys hear, when you got the walk light, that's when you walk. The flashing, see the stage set up. Again, we're kind of looking at the back of it. He's really facing the crowds going the other way. No, he's not. He's got like a gray t-shirt on. You'll see him straight through. He's the one furthest away from the microphone. Yeah, it's a little hard to see. But if you look on the monitors coming up just above the news headlines here on the left, you can see his face. That's Enrique Iglesias. There he is. The studio's right inside those yellow tinted windows there. And then there's a shop here on the right. And
all right. So again, just to kind of make sure everybody got what I was saying on board the coach, you see the beautiful clock tower coming up here. And again, this is Metropolitan Life Insurance. All right, it's a big insurance company here in the States. It's the world headquarters here. So another one, some people always do notice like a gold top to it. That's New York Life Insurance. All right, so it's two different big insurance companies headquartered here around this park. And then, of course, straight ahead, the incredible Flatiron building. Again, most of you may have seen old pictures of this before. One of the most iconic buildings in the city, for sure. And often listed in many kinds of systems. 1902. All right? Across the street, you see all this scaffolding. This is kind of a fact of life in New York City. When you walk around the street level, it's often really not very nice. I mean, there's a lot of scaffolding or not so nice shops and things like that. But sometimes, even on an ugly bottom of a building, there's actually quite a little hidden gem up above. So always just a little bit of a look up as you walk around. But it's there all the time. Blocking the view, so I really kind of like how this shows you how little buildings can actually block quite a bit of the view of the Empire State Building. So I want to take a quick snap there, and then we're going to continue walking along. You're also going to notice as you walk, there's a wonderful sculpture inside the park here, this big white head. It's actually temporary, just a temporary. 1,250 feet off the street. The viewing deck there is inside. You're looking out through the windows up at the top there. And then on top of that is the antenna. All right.
His nose and horns are nice and shiny as people walking through the area come and give him a little rub for good luck there. Also notice his tail. When I nip his tail, it almost looks like a hand asking for a handout. Kind of a little bit of foreshadowing. This was done long before we bailed out all the big financial companies last year. That's a wonderful sculpture. And again, I mentioned his nose and horns being nice and shiny, but look backwards at him as we go. There's a young guy getting his new Facebook picture there. He's kind of shiny down there too. Gets rubbed every now and again. Right or left, old U.S. Customs House.
Twin towers for 1,350 feet. This one's going to be 1,000, I don't have enough fingers, 776 feet. Much bigger than the towers, which were already much bigger than anything else here. So when this is done, it's really going to stand out on the skyline. Little glimpse into the future. Again, these two buildings, my fingers are on, these are the two buildings straight ahead of us. The one on the right is done. The one on the left, still a long way to go. As you can see there. Okay, so we're still working on that. Now they don't expect that one, the Freedom Tower, to be done until about 2014. So I've got a few more years to go before it's done. But it's actually moving very quickly up into the sky, but it's still got a long, long way to go, the Freedom Tower. Okay? So those are kind of the new buildings. The Freedom Tower really being the showcase building here.
welcome you aboard. Our photographer, Ashley, is here on the boat to take the deck all the way out to the reservation deck. The main deck is on the 86th floor, but they recently reopened the 102nd floor deck as well, and that is the top floor of the building, extremely high up. The Empire State Building was quite an amazing construction project, symbol of New York City, right in the heart of Manhattan, 34th Street and 5th Avenue. Folks, over to our right is the state of New Jersey. It's nicknamed long north-south and 2 miles across. 13-mile long north-south island of Manhattan. At Chelsea Piers. Chelsea Piers was, for many, do gymnastics, climb a rock wall, rent a kayak, be in an ice hockey league, play in a basketball league. You could even work on your... It's an excellent golfers center there with a pro shop. A lot going on for golfers right there. So now as we pass the middle pier, directly to our left are a couple of very interesting buildings. Straight out the left now it has his signature look, the undulating exterior, which is common to many of his buildings. To its left is the curved front tower that was designed by the great French architect Jean Nouvel. So 2 of the world's leading architects represented right there, Nouvel and Gehry. The building by Gehry was his in New York City visiting for the first time. Whoa, a lot of you, great. Welcome. Welcome to everyone. Glad you're here. That was Jack Kerouac. Kerouac, enamored of the great jazz bebop stars of his era that played in the clubs of the village, like Thelonious Monk, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis. The poet, Edna St. Vincent Millay, America's only Nobel Prize-winning playwright Eugene O'Neill, and the Provincetown Players. Bob Dylan launched his career in the early 60s at the little folk clubs that lined Bleecker Street. One of the last things Jimi Hendrix ever did was start Electric Lady Studios right in the heart of the village. It's, however, no longer so much a bohemian center. It's now very expensive. An example of the expensive housing are those 3 glass towers directly to the left, the West Perry residential towers that were designed by the great American architect Richard Meyer. Take a look, folks. The 2 buildings on the left have only 1 apartment on every floor. The middle building, there are 3,800 square feet on each floor. So a lot of celebrities have places there, as you might imagine. Leonardo DiCaprio, Nicole Kidman, Calvin Klein, Will Smith bought a place there recently, the West Perry Towers. So the village has become very expensive, but it is still quite an arts-based community with some of the city's best off-Broadway theater companies. One of the country's great acting schools, HB Studio on Bank Street in West Village, founded by Uta Hagen and Herbert Berghoff. Jazz still a stronghold. Great clubs like the Village Vanguard, as we know. It became quite suddenly the epicenter of the art world as people from all over the globe were flocking to this newly hip neighborhood to see and buy the art. That's when I moved to New York City, 1984, and the city was buzzing about what was happening. Dates from the 1980s. It was completed after the World Trade Center. In the 70s, done 5-acre plaza that was mined in the open air. Now on 9/11, the first plane came from the north and it flew all the way down the length of Manhattan and directly into the North Tower. The second plane also came from the north. That one was over New Jersey. It went down beyond where we are by quite a good bit, and it banked around, came up and hit the South Tower approaching from the south. When the buildings collapsed and eventually all 7 of them did, they came down into that 16-acre, 6-story deep foundation hole in the ground. That's what became known as Ground Zero. You see where the boats are docked there? That's called the North Cove. And a couple of firefighters came over from Ground Zero and they took an America's building inside and out, as well as the museum. Right across the park, pink and green roof. So you see the big old ferry boat docking in here, the big orange boat right here, barracks buildings that make proper parkland. They're going to put a walkway around the rim of the island and an amphitheater facing the Statue of Liberty. So it's a tremendous development right off the southern end of Manhattan, this little jewel of an island, Governor's Island, now part of New York City, right here on the left. Capital of the United States, the roiling Wall Street district. What a stretch it's been here. Seaport Museum. So if you go to the museum, you get one of the clipper ships. Nice shopping here. There's a half-price Broadway and off-Broadway ticket booth at the Seaport also. Great deals on theater tickets. Straight out to left is one of the great skyscrapers in the U.S. The tall, white tower with a green top. That's the Woolworth Building, designed by Cass Gilbert. It was the world's tallest building from 1913 to 1930, nicknamed the Cathedral of Commerce. There it is between the buildings now. The white tower, green top, that's the Woolworth Building. Great, great building. Okay, we're coming up now to one of the great technological and engineering successes of the 19th century, the Brooklyn Bridge, which is hailed around the world for its beauty in addition to its brilliant engineering qualities. It was designed by John Roebling, but it was carried out to completion by his young son, Washington Roebling. Due to John's untimely death, he became one of over 200 workers that died in construction accidents over the 14 long and difficult years it took to complete work on the bridge. The reason it took so long and claimed so many lives is that they were pushing forward by a huge extent the boundaries of construction and engineering to create. Folks, it's an excellent New York City thing to do to walk on the Brooklyn Bridge. If you want to go up on it, the entrance is right next to City Hall in Manhattan. 3 subway lines, the Manhattan Bridge. Subway line. Now, most subways, folks, go in and out. All right, folks, I would like to talk to you now about New York City's 5 boroughs. Okay, I'll start by making a landmark for you. If you look up in the distance, just slightly to the right, we have there, you'll see one skyscraper, that blue-green tower. So north is the Bronx. We won't get that far up the river to see the Bronx. So to the right is Queens. Correct. Okay. Manhattan. The Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Nassau County, and then Suffolk County. Towards the end, the world-famous beach is called the Hampton Staten Island. The other part of New York City on the mainland of the U.S. is the Bronx. Up north, everything else here is on an island. So I know it's probably not too, of course, we all think of Manhattan when we think of New York City. But it's a vast city beyond the confines of the small island of Manhattan. Both geographically and popularly, view the Empire State Building to our left. Now, I want to talk about 2 buildings to the left of the Empire State. There's a tower with a golden wall. That's at the top of it. That's the Metropolitan Life Insurance Building, designed by Napoleon the Bruin. That was the world's tallest building from 1909 to 1913 before the Woolworth Building. It's modeled on the Campanile and St. Mark's Plaza in Venice, Italy. The clocks on each side, you can see one now, bigger than the clocks on Big Ben in London. 26 feet across. Beautiful building. Beautifully lit up at night. All right, let's look further up the island. Past the Empire State. Off the front left of the book is the tall silver skyscraper. It has the very sharp spire.